how many important vlogs I lost on the GoPro?
So this is what it sounds like, and then immediately switching, my GoPro just shut off. The GoPro literally just shut off.
What I love about GoPro is I can get home at the end of the day and discover that despite checking everything beforehand, I have zero audio.
Those are some raw reactions from creators I know and hang out with who have used GoPro in the past and have all switched over to DJI's action cameras. Why? Because the GoPro kinda sucks. Now, it is important for me to say that this is a sponsored video. I work with DJI. They sent me this camera and they sent me this camera. I did not have to buy either of these. However, I have bought several Osmo action cameras because I use them all the time. Here's my spare that I keep floating around. This is an Action 4 and I paid $300 for this one. That being said, I have used action cameras almost every day for the past 5 years. I started on GoPros and I have switched entirely to DJI because these cameras simply outperform the competition. And we'll start off with something simple. Battery life. So this is super easy. Which one lasts longer? I set both these cameras up with the exact same settings and we're gonna watch them die. One thing I do want to call out while these cameras are slowly recording themselves to death is the boot times between these cameras. The Osmo boots in under 2 seconds while the GoPro takes over 5. And these times are accurate down to the frame. That doesn't sound like a lot, but if you're trying to record something right now, having the quicker boot time helps. On a motorcycle at 60 miles an hour, almost 4 seconds is the difference between capturing something cool and missing it entirely. Now you'll notice as these cameras are recording, the Osmo doesn't have a flashing light on the front. You can turn that off by disabling the always on display. I'm not sure how much that contributes to battery life over a little blinking light on the GoPro, but I can never see those in the sun anyway, so I always have the screens off on the Osmo while recording.
Well, I accidentally goofed up. I stopped the test too early. This is still recording at 110 minutes, so yeah, I'm just gonna let this keep going until it dies. And we're gonna see how long the clip is. It's way outlived the GoPro. But I will say, the GoPro did not overheat this year. So that's good. Just crapped out. I'm pulling up, I popped a new battery in so I can see how long it lasted. So that was 20 minutes on top of, just did the math. 2 hours, 27 minutes, and 22 seconds. Not bad.
Now before we move on to audio and recording, I want to mention something that drives me nuts. GoPro has the Apple problem. They have decided for the Hero 13 to completely change the battery structure, which means that your old GoPro batteries no longer work for this camera. That alone is reason enough for me to give this camera a pass because I keep batteries floating around forever. And this is one that is cool for the Osmo action cameras, because this is their battery container right here. And if you're out there and maybe your phone is dying, but you have full charge on all these batteries, you can use this as a battery pack to charge your USB devices. No other action camera does that. But that's enough of the preamble. Let's get out on the road and see how these cameras shake down side by side. All right. God, this camera's so much bulkier. Just look at the size difference between these. This thing's so big. Now that we're out, I want to give you just the raw audio off of this camera without any noise going on in the background, just so that you have a little bit of a reference point for what it sounds like without the wind. It sounds okay. It sounds okay. But that's the thing, is it just sounds okay. It doesn't sound great. It gets the job done. The problem I have with this setup is it's so janky. Because this camera does not have an onboard gain control for an exterior mic, you have to have a little cord that has a rolly guy on it, a volume knob essentially, to roll down the volume before it hits the camera. There are so many failure points now. You have the connection to the camera. You've got the connection going into the volume pot. You've got the connection going out of the volume pot. You've got the volume pot itself. You've got the connection between the cord and the the mic. There's too many connection points here, and I have had these little rolly cords go out. In fact, I still have like 6 of them floating around in my house. I never knew when they were going to cut out on me. And if they cut out on you, the camera can't find the audio. You just lose the rest of the audio. It's not like you get, you know, some background sound. It just disappears. But let's put the audio aside, because that is super user stuff right there. Let's talk about the visuals. The visuals are good. They are good off of this camera, and I would be lying to you if I said they were bad. The GoPro, it has always had good image quality. In fact, that is like really what they're known for, is how versatile the cameras can be. However, their log is not as flat, so I have to work harder to color correct it. I'll mention it a little bit later when I'm talking about the Osmo, but this camera requires more work. We talked about the weight before too. This camera, I can feel the difference, man. My helmet has a lot of stuff on it. I've got a Cardo over here. I've got a brake free in the back. I've got a camera on the front. I can feel the difference in the way my helmet is balanced when I have the GoPro on there, because it is a significantly heavier object. Now, with all that being said, let me pull over and let me swap to the Osmo Action 5, and I'm going to use the exact same shutter settings, and I'm going to set up the audio as best I can for both of these cameras so you can get a back-to-back feel for it. And then this is the Osmo Action 5 Pro, and I can tell you right now, I have not edited the footage yet. This camera looks better. Looks are very subjective, but it is much easier for me to color grade this camera. I don't know why, but the main win for the Action 5 Pro, and really the Osmo Action family in general, is this is the only camera to my knowledge that has an inbuilt gain control that works this well. Yes, the Ace Pro does have gain control, but for whatever reason, even with it dialed right, it doesn't sound as good as this camera. There are very few times on YouTube where I brag about myself. I try really hard not to do that, but on my channel, I think I have some of the best, if not the best, action camera audio on YouTube, period. I think that I can go head to head with RevZilla with this, just with this, and it takes like 2 minutes to set it up. It's so quick, it's so easy. And one of the nice things about this is if I lose connection, it automatically refines itself. I mean, look at this clip here. Ooh, I'm glad I checked that. I'm almost gonna be very mad at myself. Check. Check, check, check. That was almost a colossal fuck up. The GoPro doesn't do that. So, I mean, the hits just keep coming for the GoPro, man. I don't know how they get away with it. All right, I'm gonna let you guys sit along for this part. I always have to do this with a GoPro. I gotta check and see what the audio sounds like. I almost never do this with the Osmos. Time-lapse video, there we go. No. Why are you sideways? I just have them sitting in boxes in a drawer in my house because, I mean... It's gainy, but it's there. Good enough. It's not like... Let's get back in and edit. To my ears, those differences are massive. The GoPro has much more gain in its signal because that little rolly wheel on the connecting cord that goes between the camera and the mic, it's really hard to find a precise spot for that thing, and it moves around. Meanwhile, the Osmo just has a gain slider. on board. I don't know why GoPro obstinately refuses to put a gain control on their camera. Everybody else has one. What the f? As far as footage goes, this one's gonna get a little bit film nerdy, but what really sets these two apart is the color temperature. The GoPro footage always comes out hot because its white balance is pretty poor. However, DJI's action cameras have an onboard white balance sensor on the front, so you get a much better color temperature, which means it's much easier to get true to life colors. So if you don't want to get super nerdy and mess with a bunch of color sliders, you can just let the camera do all the thinking for you and you're gonna get great footage.
Okay, so now this is something that the GoPro does not do even a little bit. I've got this internal storage here. I came out here and I forgot my SD card in this camera because I was ingesting some footage and I just accidentally left it in my computer. But I have an hour and 48 minutes built into this thing. So I can actually still go out here and do my job even though I'm a bonehead and I forgot to put the SD card back in here. So that's fun. Suck it, GoPro.
Lastly, we gotta talk about reliability, and I'm gonna hand this one off to Dork in the Road.
Why do I love GoPro? Well, you know, it's annoying when you're out filming all day and you get home and you just like have video of the whole day. Like, who wants that? Where's the challenge there, right? So what I love about GoPro is I can get home at the end of the day and discover that despite checking everything beforehand, I have zero audio. Like, that's a great thing that happens pretty often. Like, it's a 25% chance. Or sometimes you get extra special bonuses, like it'll switch itself into time-lapse mode, even though you've hit no buttons, and be recording like that all day, or at least a clip or two. And my super favorite, this is rare, but I've gotten this one. It'll keep blinking, the light will keep blinking, and it'll look like it's recording, and you get to your next destination, or you go to switch the camera battery or whatever, and you realize it froze up 2 hours ago, but just kept blinking. So yeah, I just don't feel like GoPro's really designed with motorcycle content creators in mind.
He's not alone. I mean, Jess literally had the camera fail in the middle of her review between these two.
So this is what it sounds like, and then immediately switching, my GoPro just shut off. The GoPro literally just shut off. It's not even that hot. I can't make this up. I'm filming side by side. I started each camera at the exact same time, and the GoPro literally just shut off. It's not on at all. So reliable.
And then here's Whitney, who's been working on all these cameras with me for almost 5 years.
Do you know how many important vlogs I lost on the GoPro? And yet we're like, check the audio. And I was like, it sounds amazing.
Yeah, they're reliable.
F you, GoPro.
There you
F
go.
You. Up your dumb butt.
But I didn't just cherry pick people who I know have had problems. If you talk to any content creator who's riding a motorcycle and using GoPros, they have lost vlogs to this thing. I don't know why, but the GoPro is just so unreliable. I have never once lost a vlog on the Osmo Action 5. Now, all this is well and good, right? We can talk about some of the accessories, but really GoPro and DJI have very similar suites of accessories. Me personally, I find the battery case to be the best thing that DJI has to offer because A, I can charge all my batteries in it, and B, I can use this to charge other things. I interrupt this message to let you know that that statement is a damaging lie. This right here is the best accessory for the DJI Action 5 Pro because this is the Mic 2. This is what I use to record all of my audio. It's actually what I'm using in this video that you're currently watching, except for now. And this is the receiver right here, which you don't actually need because you can directly pair these. You can take two of them and pair it to the Action 5 Pro, which means that you don't even need to use the fancy audio setup that I do. You can just send it straight to this. But what really makes the Osmo Action 5 the better camera is that it's $50 cheaper. Yeah, there you go. I buried the lead. This thing is cheaper and outperforms it. And this is the high school jock that's still wearing his Letterman jacket at 30. If I could say one thing to the folks at GoPro, it would be to spend less time in content creators' comment sections accusing them of staging failures for your camera and make sure that you actually have the features that other action cameras do. I mean, seriously, how hard is it to put a gain control on this thing? And why change the batteries? What's going on, man? Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. And again, I wanted to let you know here at the end of it that this is a sponsored video. I do work with DJI, but I would tell you the same thing regardless of whether or not DJI sent me these cameras or not. I choose my sponsors very carefully, and I would only put something on the channel that I'm willing to put my reputation behind, and this is the camera that I would tell anybody to get if they were getting started. By the way, if you're interested, link is down in the description below. I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you later.
Hopefully you guys, you know, are getting something out of this. I'm sure that a lot of people are gonna be like, man, I don't believe you, you're sponsored. It's almost like I, you know, don't do this every day and can't develop my own thoughts about a camera. I'm not bitter.